Doodlebud. Today we're checking out this little pen here. This is the Asvine V126. This was actually sent to me directly by Asvine along with a couple other pens, 3 in total. They reached out after watching a couple of my reviews where I went through and reviewed the pens, but also found a few little areas of improvement, some adjustments, some tweaks I thought they should make just to kind of improve things a little bit. They watched the videos. They said thank you for pointing those things out and said they made those adjustments and have some new pens for me to check out. So I was quite surprised by that. So I'm going to run through this pen, show you all about it. It's the build quality has increased. I'll definitely say that. There are a few extra little nitpicks I did still find, and I'll show little suggestions on that. And I'll also show you some of the things they did change on this one from their previous pen. The first pen I reviewed by Asvine was the V169. And I mentioned on the box, it said Moon Man, but the pen's Asvine. Which one are you? They updated it, so now it's Asvine. Also, I mentioned on there just how the pen gets secured. It was kind of compressing the pen a bit too much in the fingers for the foam. They've updated that as well. Those are some of the little tiny nitpicks I had. Not even about the pen, but just little details. And then even the instruction manual, I pointed out a few things, just how the alignment of the pictures were kind of up, down, up, down. They're all lined up off the tip now. So all sorts of little details. They even took care of those. So I thought that was quite interesting. So good on them for taking constructive criticism in stride, which is all that was just me making little suggestions to further improve something. I always believe if you're not trying to get better a little bit all the time, eventually your products or your brand will suffer because someone else will always be doing that. So you should be doing that too. And it's evident here in the pen. So the V169, you'll see their pens sometimes have a V or a P. So V means vac filler, P means piston. And this is a lovely little vac filler pen. I got the clear one and I got it all shined up as I got this actually spectacularly clean because I wanted to show you a little trick. There's a reason I ordered it in the clear. It has a few different colors. There's like a frosted black, there's a blue, orange, and some other ones too. You can check out there'll be a link down in the description to their Amazon store. You can check out all the color options, but I specifically got it in clear. I wasn't sure if this was a turned machine pen or if it was injection molded. This is a turn pen. But either way, the reason I got it is I wanted to be able to see the internal stresses on here, and a clear pen's the best way to do that. Let me show you how I'm going to do that right now. So what we have here is the makings of a DIY Polariscope. I have my laptop open to paint with just a straight white screen. That's our polarized light source. And then I took the lens out of a pair of polarized sunglasses, and I'm going to tape it up next to the camera lens. First, I'll show you this little ink box. So this is from a Monteverde ink bottle. Little piece of plastic. This is injection molded. It doesn't look too interesting, but if you get up close, you can see these little rainbow patterns. So what you're seeing here, these are the internal stresses within this object. So you can see here we have a big concentration here. That's where there's a lot of flexing going on, sharp corners, and if something's going to break, it's going to be right around one of those points. You can even watch them sort of move and change as I flex this box lid. If you want to learn more about this, I did this on a TWSBI Eco to address the cracking issue. Now, I thought this pen might be injection molded, so I'd want to see this on the pen. This is turned, so the one advantage with the turned pen is you're not going to have those types of issues. So you can see it still stays crystal clear. It doesn't light up and show you the beautiful rainbow patterns. That's just simply because this is a turned pen instead of injection molded one. But that was the reason I went with the clear. There's some other gorgeous colors. I thought, well, just in case it's injection molded, I'd like to check it out. Now back to the stuff that the average person would really care about. Build quality on the pen, I can really see it has stepped up. It has increased. It really feels great in the hand. Feels like a really well-made pen. Just you can grab something and just within a second you can feel how well something's made. This is made quite well. Everything's nicely machined. Polishing's really good. Just even the plating on all the parts here you can see on the clip. It's really, really good. Cap band as well. The engraving on here is nice and clean. Everything's good. There's no chatter in any of the engravings or anything like that. It's really nice and crystal clean, and the plating is spot on as well. So that looks fantastic. Nice little section. Threads are good. The edge here on the step up could be maybe just a hair smoother, just a slight better radius on that one, or a little more polishing. But other than that, it's pretty darn good. We got the Asvine branded nib, obviously gold plated. This is a medium. We'll show you how that writes. We'll do the ink capacity test. I'll show you how to do a super fill. We'll check how much this holds if you do a super fill as well. So for folks who don't know how to do a super fill in the vac filler, you'll get bonus footage on that. Vac fillers, they're pretty cool. It's just one-handed operation. A one-handed filling pen it's kind of handy because sometimes the bottle's down there a bit and you're trying to get in and you got to get to the bottom of it and then you get it just right. And then if you got to turn something, these you can just put it in there and pop, it'll suck the ink up. So that is one kind of nice thing with vac fillers is one-handed operation, and this one has been working just fine. Little ring here on the back. The focus is all over the map tonight. Nothing I can do. But build quality, everything is good. Lots of O-rings to keep everything sealed and tight, as you can see in here. And then further down in here, nice O-rings as well. And that's the main one that does the suction action. And then one here for the shut-off, which will seal off the lower chamber of the pen from the upper. So this is one thing, if you're new to vac fillers, most vac fillers work this way, where you have your main ink reservoir, and then this would be kind of like your lower chamber, the lower reservoir where it has the section and all that stuff as well. So because you have that little gasket, you actually have to back the pen off a little bit to allow ink flow. So you can either do one of two things, just write with it backed off a little bit and let the ink flow from the main reservoir to the lower one. Or if this runs dry, some people say, oh, they're troubleshooting their pen, they make a post, and after a page and a half of notes, my pen dries up every time. It's like, well, yeah, you're not letting the ink flow through. So you can let it open, or open it, let the extra ink fall down, and then shut it off if you don't like to have it loosened there on the back. So that's a little tip. The pen does post nice and deep and secure. So yeah, if you like to post the pen, you got no problems. You don't have to worry about the cap falling off. Again, like I said, just feeling the pen here every single time I've been using it, it feels really, really nice in the hand. It's comfortable, writes really well, and the machining, polishing, finishing, all that is pretty good, except for, well, no, it's good, but there is a couple little nitpicks I have. Let's just get into it. I'll just show you right now. So it's a 2-start thread, so that means the nib can finish being aligned up or down. But where the nib finishes off is dictated, I can't quite 100% see, but I think it might be where the bottom of the cap hits the edge here of the barrel. There's also a stop here, so I'm not sure who's on first. I looked under my little loop. I think it's this one here. But now you can see that the clip, the nib doesn't align under the clip. So what you could do is back this off and you just go, oh, just align the clip. However, if you do that, I'll do that right now, something else gets out of alignment. So, okay, so now the world is good. We're aligned. But then if you look where the clip is aligned, it's not aligned center over Asvine. So when they put it together, they adjust it so this is centered over the logo, which it should be, but then the nib isn't lined up. So there's a couple things you could do. Would be just really adjust, this dimension, or whether it's this one or this one. You only need a touch more. And then when you put the pen in, it's either going to be straight down or straight up. And that would just make people just a slightly little bit more happy if the nib and the clip were aligned instead of just off. Again, does not impact the pen whatsoever, but that's just one of those slight little improvements that might go unnoticed, but some people do notice, and I'm one of them. Okay, another thing just on the back here, so we have some metal parts here that go together to operate the vacuum filler rod. So you have a little assembly on there. On the back here, we have this metal part, and you can see it's already taken a few victims with it. So then we got the acrylic cap here in the back. So all it is, I looked under the loop. I'll try to fit it up to the phone. What happens is this part is made so these threads are cut into the part, and then you can see there's a flat that gets machined. And so if you're machining off the top of those threads into that flat, you're going to get a little burr down in there, and it's that little burr which is causing a little bit of damage here on here. I don't think it will like really strip out because you can't over tighten it. It'll just go down to here and stop. but there are a couple real easy ways to get rid of it. I'm curious if it'd be better to actually machine the flats first and then do the thread. You'll still have a burr, but the burr will be sort of on the back side of that tool path and it's easier to remove. So I would say maybe just put these parts into like a vibratory finisher afterwards with like some, whatever little ceramic media, let it run. Better chance of getting the burr off when it's on that edge. Or, you know, you could take the part just the way it is and just chuck it in there. It might get rid of it, but the burr is kind of deep down in there. It's a little bit distorted here just using my loop, but you can see that little flat spot goes down and get a little bit of a crusty edge on there. So again, doesn't really impact functionality, but you just worry if over the next several years of heavy use, if you're using this all the time and filling it frequently, that could potentially wear out those threads. So that'd be one little thing I would suggest to tweak. I haven't had any issues with nib dry out or anything at all, and it has been writing quite nicely. I immediately checked the tine under my loop when I got it. The tine gap is good, alignment was good, so I was quite happy to see that as well. Let's do the numbers so we can see how much, what's the mass now, and then when I fill it and do a super fill. So empty, we're looking at 27 1/4. The cap is 9.16. And the body here, let's say 18. What I'm gonna do is tear that and let's fill this up. Going to use some of this Octopus fluids. They're Write and Draw ink, the blue Lynx. Okay, so just regular fill, we'll pop it in there. Let it pull up. So we got about 1.4 milliliters there. Now for the risky part, and I just realized I'm using this stuff, which is like kind of a permanent ink. So this is where it can go bad. You pull the vacuum rod back and you're just going to drive the piston up here. Okay. Push the plunger up. Have a tissue above the nib here. I would recommend that just in case. And we're just going to be driving the air out. This cannot go past there or it's all coming out. So let's keep it going and just be careful. We just want to push all that air out of the system. Got to make sure the rod doesn't get away on you, so it is a little risky. Looks like we're starting to get the air out. Okay, that's close enough, I think, without an explosion. We'll put the pen back in, plunge it again, and now we're quite a bit more on the fill. I could maybe get a touch more, but I'd say that's good enough. And so we were, what was it, 1.4 or something like that before? Yeah, now we're up to 2.3, so that's a pretty good amount of ink. Okay, I got that last little bit of air out. Let's see what that gets us. Is that a touch more? Do we get 2.5? Let's see. Okay, back on. Yes, we got 2.5 mils total. So that was a little extra bonus if you want to know how to fully fill your vacuum filler pen. That's called a super fill. Personally, I actually like to have that little air bubble slosh around. I think it's more visually appealing, but there you go. For a visual size comparison, first we have a Lamy Aeon Pilot 823, of course the Asvine V126, Lamy Dialogue 3, Pilot Metropolitan. And here we are, same pens, this time just with the caps off. As you can see, it's pretty darn close to the Pilot 823. Now we'll do some proper measurements. 147, just under 129, and just about 163. Okay, cap diameter, body diameter, start of the section, end of the section, and it's about 20 millimeters long. Let's get writing. Rhodia paper, 80 GSM dot pad, and that's the ink like I mentioned before. Nib is a medium, and this thing writes wonderfully. So having written with the pen for a little bit now, I find it's just fantastic. When I checked it under the loop, I almost thought right away just how that tine gap was. I thought, was this actually tuned? Because the tine gap was set really well. So yeah, maybe they're adjusting these, I don't know. But either way with this one, it was dead nuts, very smooth, you know, just a great, enjoyable pen to use. And so the medium actually seems seems a little bit wider than most mediums. Or, well, I don't use medium nibs that much, but just there's always a little bit of variance. But it's got some nice width to it, because I know some folks do like a broader line. And a lot of pens sometimes will only come with an extra fine or fine, bit of a pain. They don't have thicker line widths for those who do. So for a medium nib, I find this is kind of between a medium and a broad, and it's just very, very smooth. Of course, the wider you go in the tipping, the smoother the nib you get typically. So it obviously shares a few design traits from the so popular Pilot A23. The prices, though, are worlds apart. Again, just go in the description there, because depending on your region, pricing is a little bit different with conversions and whatnot. But I think what you're getting is pretty darn good. Like I said, little spot here on those threads, and maybe a little solution just to make the nib line up just perfect. That would be the only thing I'd recommend on the pen. It has worked perfectly out of the box. I inked it up. Very happy with it. Nice and smooth. Holds lots of ink. Very comfortable, posts well. You know, the acrylic is nice and clear, even the little details in the packaging. So I can tell they've leveled up, and they are really serious about producing well-made, well-priced pens that are accessible to lots of people. And so this, for me, this is a great pen. I'd have no problem recommending this to folks if they're thinking about their first vac filler, or they just, want a nice daily carry pen that's reliable but lots of ink capacity, other color options as well. So yeah, this pen's been fantastic. Oh, and a special note to the folks who will go in the comments and say, oh, just put a little silicone grease on it. Silicone grease doesn't remove burrs. It will mask it, but the burr is still there. So silicone grease doesn't fix everything. It had to be said. I had to say that. Anyways, we'll leave it there for now. Let's chat down there in the comments. The thumbs up button is there to hit, along with the subscribe button if you haven't. Thanks to Asvine for sending me this pen to review. Got 2 more of theirs to check out as well. Until then, we'll catch you next time.